watching All Pro Broadcasting with
Freedom Train.
Smithley, driver the number 0, JD Motorsports Chevrolet, and you're watching All Pro Broadcasting.
When you're ready,
Surfpro, how can we help?
help gets there faster. The cleanup specialists at 1-800-SERVPRO and ServPro.com. Helping make fire and water damage like it never even happened.
Welcome, race fans, to the Domino's TYJ Racing Dented Fender Series race here tonight at Texas Motor Speedway. This is race number 2 of round number 2 for these drivers. Welcoming in the booth is my good friend Curtis Young. How you doing tonight?
Good, Robert. Excited to be here at Texas. Always makes for pretty good racing, and round number 27 here on the Dented Fenders Truck Series of 29 race schedule. So as you said, we're in round number 2, race number 2 of round number 2, and we got 3 rounds here. So tonight in California left, we're going to narrow down the field down to 12 drivers after California, and then have 12 drivers fight it out at Homestead. So it's getting down to the wire here. Third last race of the season.
Very good, Curtis. Thank you so much. This is going to be a very exciting race. These drivers are going to face some changing track conditions as the race goes. Again, fans, we appreciate you being here tonight. This is the Serve Pro 200 live on All Pro Broadcasting. You want to make sure, fans, you click that subscribe button so you will be entered in that contest to receive the $200 prize for the random drawing here in the next few weeks. Serve Pro has got the fastest response time to any kind of disaster you will ever have. Serve Pro is ready for whatever happens. Serve Pro can make it like it never even happened. Call 1-800-SERVE-PRO if you have any kind of damage to your home due to flood, water damage, fire damage, you name it. So, Curtis, I think you've got the chase grid in front of you. Why don't we go over that real quick and let the fans know where these drivers are sitting?
All right, so the 16 drivers still in the chase. Gerald Campbell, he's at the top of the board. He won Martinsville a week ago, sorry. And the reason that's so important is because he's actually going to miss California, I believe, in a week's time. So missing a race in a 3-race round just that really doesn't help. You pretty much need a win to be able to get through. So Gary Sexton is 14 points to the good. Jeremy Crandall in the 73, he is 12 points to the good, as is the 98 machine of Andrew Kessler. Vernon Margheim, he is 8 points to the good. Tyler Chalk in the 07, he is 7 points to the good, as is his Southeast Motorsports teammate Jack Watts. Jeff T. Martin right behind them, he's 6 points to the good. James Ross, he had a rough race last week, and he's only 5 points to the good right now. So 11 wins on the season, and I wouldn't say his back is up against the wall yet, but he really can't afford to have something go wrong here tonight at Texas. And the number 2 of Blake Griffith, he is right behind James, 4 points to the good. Ivan Garcia, he is 2 points to the good right now in that number 72 Tide machine. And Shane Parrish is the final truck at the cutoff line in that number 81, 0 points to the good. So Judd Danielson right behind him, just 1 point back of that final transfer spot. Chad Payne is 3 points back. William Locklear in the number 4, he is 5 points back, and Mark Jackson in the 3, he's 26 points back. So I don't want to count Mark Jackson out yet because there's 2 races left, but he's really got to have a good showing here tonight. And those other 3 guys, Judd Danielson, Chad Payne, and William Locklear, they have a good race here tonight, and they got a really good shot of putting themselves in a good spot going into California, and just at least being inside that bubble instead of being on the outside looking in.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Curtis. A couple more things for you fans. We are going to have the free Domino's Pizza giveaway. We're going to give you details of that in just a few minutes. And we have got a full field of drivers that are fast. They've been doing some practice here. And it looks like as we speak, we've got the number 7 of Blake Griffith top the leaderboard. I don't know, Curtis, if you can get hold of him maybe for a quick interview before we go green. But we'll see how he laid down such an unbelievably fast lap.
10-4.
Yes, at this Texas Motor Speedway, it is a 1.5 mile oval. Blake Griffiths, this is Robert and Curtis in the booth. Looks like your homework and your practice has paid off, at least for qualifying. How'd you put down such a fast lap?
Well, I'd done a lot of practice on a cooler track, so I wasn't really ready for it. I think I just was able to get the truck down to the bottom and make it rotate and put down a decent lap.
Hey, sounds good. We wish you a lot of luck. Hopefully you can keep that track position, keep up with the changing track and the pit strategy, not have any mistakes. Hopefully we'll talk to you in Victory Circle.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you so much, Blake. Thank you, Curtis. Curtis, it looks like he does have the pole. If you will go down the starting order, starting here in about 5 or 10 seconds, I will let you know, fans, to win that free large pizza, all you have to do is be the first fan to accurately pick the winner of this race at halfway, which will be lap 67. You can text 919-883-7497, or in the live chat, you can say, I choose this driver. We will award that free large 3-topping pizza at the end of the race, so stay tuned for that. Go ahead, Curtis, with the starting order.
Yeah, and we just talked to him starting on the pole, the number 7 of Blake Griffith. He's in that Hexicam Dirty Air CCR machine tonight, and he's got William Locklear in the number 4 starting to his outside. Shane Parrish will roll off P number 3 tonight with Gerald Campbell to his outside in the number 6 machine. Gary Sexton going to round out your top 5 here tonight, and James Ross going to roll off to his outside in 6th. Number 85 of Judd Danielson, he'll start from the 7th position tonight with Jeremy Crandall in the number 73 to his outside starting 8th. Jeff T. Martin in the number 15 machine is going to roll off in 9th, and Eric Stanford will round out your top 10 in that number 24. 42 of David Wright. Looks like he's in got a different truck here tonight, the Mellow Yellow Chevrolet. Number 45 of Sean Kalis will roll off to his outside in the 12th position. Ralph Vandervorst in that Fanatec number 166, he'll start in 13th. Ray Richer in the 44, he will start in 14th. 66 of Jack Watts rounds out your top 15 with Vernon Margheim starting in 16th in that number 33. Number 98 of Andrew Kessler, he will start 17th here tonight. Number 9 of Chad Payne and the 72 of Ivan Garcia starting 18th and 19th. They round out your drivers to take a qualifying time. Looks like the 07 of Tyler Chalk and the 94 of Kevin Fetty going to tag on to the end of the field here, not taking qualifying time.
Thank you, Curtis. This is going to be a very exciting start. We've got the drivers that are qualified for this race. Looks like the drivers, Curtis, I think, have a yellow spoiler and splitter if they are part of the chase.
Yeah, and hopefully everybody's got their yellow spoiler and splitter torn off if they were in the chase and then they got knocked out, but I'm not 100% positive about that. Something else to note here is something we haven't been doing all season. This week we have dynamic track, so basically that means that the drivers didn't really know what the track temperature was going to be headed into the session, and I personally know I went into the other practice session, turned a couple laps. Track temp was 94 degrees in that session. Track temperature in this one 105 degrees, so slightly hotter. The truck is going to get a little bit more loose on the long run, I think, than what it would. But overall, feel pretty similar. I think these guys can hold it pretty much wide open for the first lap or so, and then they really got to start backing it off. The tires will start to wear about halfway through this run. I presume it'll be about a 40 lap run on fuel. Blake Griffith, the control car, on the Serve Pro 200 here tonight from Texas. Looks like he gets a good jump down into turn number 1, clear by almost 4 truck legs there, and they're almost 3 wide into turn number 1 already. Behind them, William Locklear, Shane Parrish, and Gerald Campbell, all just trying to fight for that bottom lane. That's where you want to be on the restarts here, because these trucks don't have the power. They're not wound up to full song. Even the Cup cars, they don't really get wound up to full song by the time you hit turn number 1. But battle right now looks to be for that 3rd position. Gerald Campbell looking to the inside of that number 81 of Shane Parrish. See if he can make that bottom lane work early on here on lap number 2.
Another thing, Curtis, I noticed is on this track, with these weather conditions, the tires on these trucks wear out very fast. So these drivers, including our leader Blake Griffith, is going to have to decide, is he going to run really fast, really hard the first 5, 10, 15 laps and wear the tires out, or is he going to manage his tires, expecting a long green flag run, which we have had many times, and be able to make passes later in the run?
And they're 3 wide right now. 81 of Shane Parrish, the 51 of James Ross, and the 85 of Judd Danielson. They're 3 wide for just a second there in turn number 2. I don't know if that was the smartest move on James Ross' part. He probably knows he can't really afford a bad race here, but I'm sure he trusts those 2 guys. And he's, and the 51 and the 85 get together.
All right, man, caution is out.
Caution is out.
Yes, fans, we'll get the replay pulled up in just a second.
And the 81 and the 15 got into it after the, we'll go over Judd Danielson and the 85 and the 51's contact here first. So it just looked like going over. I think Judd might have clipped the apron and went up into the 51 of James Ross, got him loose. James spun like a helicopter through the grass. I think avoided any further contact. And let's take a look at what happened here between the 81 and the 15.
Yeah, it looks like the 15 of Jeff T. Martin was trying to avoid the accident and got into the wall. The 81 had nowhere to go, got into him. Unfortunate for all these guys that got damaged early in the race.
Yeah, that was a pretty tough lick for that Chucky machine that Jeff T. Martin is driving tonight. That's really sucks when something like that happens.
Yeah, these trucks, it's definitely a possibility. When you hit that apron, you get loose, you're trying to correct, and if the truck is right on the outside, which is exactly where the 51 Power Solutions machine of James Ross was. Luckily for James, he spun through the grass like you said, Curtis. I don't think he got any major damage at all. The other guys were not so fortunate. What are you seeing on pit road? Any takers already?
Trying to catch back up here on the replays. Yeah, it looks like the 7 of Blake Griffith is leading the pack down pit road right now. Almost everybody's going to come down pit road, sorry. Looks like Jack Watts in the 66. He's going to, I believe, take this opportunity to lead the lap. I'm not sure if he's going to try and stay out. It's only 5 laps into the run, so he could try it, but the way these tires work here on these trucks at Texas this week, I don't know, it's just you can go almost flat out, like I said, for the first lap, so be a little risky that you could get ran over. But yeah, like I said, I'm sure Jack is just trying to get a bonus point for a lap lead here, and early on he's going to pull it back down pit road, come get 4 fresh Goodyears and go to the back, work his way back up.
Yeah, it looks like Blake Griffith in that number 7 CCR machine came out first off the pit road. We've got William Locklear, number 4, came out second. Gerald Campbell, the number 6, came out third. And Eric Stanford in the 24, he came out fourth.
We'll see what Jack Watts does here. Yeah, it looks like he is going to pull it down pit road, so Blake Griffith is going to lead him back to the green flag. Looks like the front row is actually going to remain, the top 3 are going to remain unchanged in the start of this race. Eric Stanford slipping into that 4th spot. And I'm not sure, Gary Sexton had some trouble on pit road, or if he fell back when the race started there, but he's back to the 7th position. He started in 5th, so I guess that's not too bad, but I think the scoring is actually just messed up right now because of late pitters.
Yeah, it'll all cycle back around real quick. So it looks like leading the race, like you said, the top 3 positions are unchanged. Blake Griffin in that number 7 CCR Toyota Tundra will be taking the start in first. William Locklear in that Monster Energy Silverado number 4 will be starting second. Gerald Campbell in that Veterans of Foreign Wars number 6 Silverado will be starting 4th. And Eric Stanford, will be starting 4th. Will be Eric Stanford in that Pepsi Toyota Tundra. David Wright in that mellow yellow Silverado, looks like he'll be restarting in 5th. Gary Sexton 7th. I think he did have a little trouble. He's in that dirtier Studios Toyota Tundra, number 17. Jeremy Crandall's moved up. He's in that beautiful Save the Tatas, number 73 Silverado. He's going to be restarting 8th. 9th will be Ralph Vandervoort, the 166. And in 10th, restarting will be Ray Richard, the number 44. I'll let you take the restart. Matter of fact, let's do our crank it up here when we get ready for this restart, which is a great feature that we get on All Pro Broadcasting. Again, fans, make sure you click that subscribe button. You will be entered into a contest where a random subscriber will be chosen and will win a $200 cash payment. So make sure you click the subscribe button. That way you also get all the reminders for all of our races, which the next one will be tomorrow night. And then next week, Wednesday and Thursday, all times, 8:50 p.m. Eastern. So on this restart, these guys have had a little bit of positions changed, where we got the same leaders up front. And we're going to watch this restart. We're going to do about 3 laps, crank it up, and enjoy this, fans. Turn up all your surround sound and enjoy this, crank it up.
Pace car getting ready to duck off here. Blake Griffith's going to lead him back to the green flag.
Green
He gets a
flag.
good jump on the field. We're going to crank it up here for a few laps. 3 wide. Wow. As I just said, while we were doing that, crank it up, James Ross, he clipped the apron in turn 3 and 4, just like Judd did when he hit him. And
yeah, luckily for James, he saved it. There was no truck on the outside of him, and that also did put the 98 there of Andrew Kessler into the wall. I think the second time the 98 machine has grazed the wall. Hopefully not too much damage on that, but that's a great notice there, Curtis.
And yeah, James started in that 5th position. He got loose, went back to I think 13th there. He was up to 10th, went back to 13th. He's back up to the 10th position now. So he's passed these trucks a couple times. He's to the inside of the 07 of Tyler Chalk right now, trying to get to the inside of Jeremy Crandall right now as well. So he just made 2 passes in that one corner. He's on a mission right now, up to 8th spot, and be a good truck on the long run as well. So
yeah, I gotta wonder there, Curtis, with that almost spin out, that he damaged his tires a little bit. Might not be showing up yet, but be interested to see if he's going to be able to make it all the way to the lead pack here if we do stay green with the damage, a little bit of damage or wear that 51 truck received in that little mishap he had a few minutes ago.
Yeah, I'm sure he scrubbed his tires a little bit for sure, but this is just the first set of tires on the truck, or the second set I should say, and he'll be able to get some new ones and should be alright, didn't have any contact. So up front, still Blake Griffith, he's leading by 0.4 seconds over the 6th machine of Gerald Campbell. Eric Stanford is 1.1 seconds back, William Lochner 1.3 seconds back, and Gary Sexton 2.8 seconds back. I have a little feeling that Gary Sexton is holding back a little bit right now. I think he's fast enough. His qualifying speed shows that he was fast enough that he could be running a little bit closer right now. He's saving, and you'll see him get closer later in the run. And I think when people do that, they gain drastically per lap, like 2 to 3 tenths. So keep an eye on that number 17 machine and see if that gap continues to grow for another couple laps and then starts to drop rapidly.
Yeah, that's exactly what I think we're going to see all night long, Curtis, is we're going to see the fast guys or the guys that are just driving extremely hard at the beginning of one of these runs We're going to see them have issues with their tires and getting loose sooner, and the guys that are able to save a little bit in the first 2, 3, even 4 laps of a run may be able to come on really strong. I do want to remind you fans of how you can win that free large 3-topping Domino's pizza for the fans that have just joined us. It is real simple. We're on lap 18. By halfway, which is lap 67 tonight, fans. The first fan to accurately predict the winner of this race, don't pick 3 people or 2 people. Don't pick now and decide again to pick a different driver in 10 laps. Take your time. If you pick 3 different drivers, I cannot honor that. Pick 1 driver before lap 67, and the first fan to get it correct by texting 919-883-7497, or if you're in the live chat, you can say, I picked this driver. That fan will win a large 3-topping Domino's pizza from any Domino's store in the United States of America or Canada, carry out only, and we will let the winner know, and we'll let everybody know at the end of the broadcast, so make sure you stay tuned.
And it looks like Vernon Markheim just made the pass on Ralph Vandervorst. Or maybe Ralph was trying to make a pass on the outside, but it's like the 85 of Judd Danielson trying to make his way by that number 166 machine. That's a battle for the 13th position, actually. And they're right behind that number 33 of Vernon Markheim, and it looks like 166 gets the run on the outside for the time being. It looks like the 166 is actually having some connection issues, so it's a little bit tough for Judd. He's probably just trying to stick it to the bottom right now, hoping he doesn't get hit, so he just made it by. I think Ralph checked up a little bit because Judd said something over the radio that he was having some problems, so we'll see if Judd can try and make his way around Vernon now. And Jeremy Crandall trying to, in front of them, Jeremy Crandall's trying to track down the 07 of Tyler Chalk for the 10th position. He's about 4 or 5 truck lengths back at the moment.
Yeah, I think Jeremy Crandall restarted on this run, I think in the 5th or 6th position. He was up there pretty close, and he's definitely fallen back and settled in here in the 11th position. Whether he's going to be able to get his way back around the 07 will be interesting to see.
All right, man, caution is
out on the speedway, and it looks like it's the 42 of David Wright and the 44 of Ray Richard. Looks like the 42 just drives right through the 44, but yeah, you got 42 got into the corner a little bit hot, got into the left rear of the 44 of Ray Richard and just spun him around. I don't think much damage on either truck. Ray got it pointed the right direction, and everybody managed to avoid him. So no harm, no foul for either truck, I don't think, other than maybe a position or 2 lost. But it's a lot better than being hooked in the fence, and gonna bring the caution out nonetheless. Looks like Ray's actually gonna get him. I think he got all of his positions. Only lost 1 or 2 spots off that, so everybody gonna take the opportunity to bring it down pit road here. Blake Griffith leading them down. Gonna make his way all the way down to that number 1 pit stall. Gerald Campbell behind him, he'll be in the number 3 pit stall. Eric Stanford, he's a little bit farther back. He's in the number 10 pit stall, so we'll see how that plays out for those 3.
It looks like right.
Looks like he stopped it a little bit close to the pit wall. That might be a little bit of a long pit stop.
Yeah, it could slow him down just a tad. He does come off the pit road with 4 fresh Goodyear Eagles. All these trucks are getting 4 fresh Goodyear Eagles, but it looks like Blake Griffin, number 7, is going to beat them off the pit road at this time, like he has done on both of the earlier caution we had earlier. So we'll see if anybody stayed out. Curtis, I don't know if you noticed, but I'm pretty sure all these drivers took 4 Goodyear Eagles and 2 Kansas Sunoco racing fuel.
Yeah, nobody stayed out. I think somebody might have stayed out just to lead a lap. The 85 of Judd Danielson here, he actually stayed out to lead a lap. I'm not sure. He's running in the 6th position, so yeah, you want to lead a lap. Actually, Is he gonna stay out? I'm not sure what Judd did to get up to the lead on that one. I have to go back and take a look.
Yeah, we'll see once the scoring cycles through to see exactly where he ends up.
Yeah, Judd stayed out, and I'm not sure if he was just too far back that he didn't get the lap led that last time, so he has to do it this time and come down pit road the next time. But that'd be a pretty odd call, I think, to stay out right now. We went green flag that time, I think, for 20 laps, so I think that would put him on a completely different fuel strategy than a lot of these guys if he were to stay out.
Yeah, I'll tell you one thing, Curtis. We are gonna get the restart here, and we're gonna try to keep up with our chase drivers and how they're doing. Gary Sexton is plus 14. He is still running up there. Looks like in the top 7, so he's still safely in. Let's look at the guys down at the cut line. Shane Parrish was plus 8. We have a lot of racing to go, but Shane Parrish is back in 19th, so I think he's going to be risking at this point, if he doesn't make a lot of moves in the rest of this race, Shane Parrish might be knocked out. Judd Danielson himself looking good, but he's going to have to come down pit road, I think. Right now, that's going to put him in the back. Chad Payne was 3 points out, and it looks like Chad is running in the 13th position. I don't know if that's going to be good enough if the race ended right now. Who else are you seeing, and as far as where they're sitting on the track, what they might have to do to make it in at least at this point? We do have one more race before the cutoff.
Yeah, that's what I was kind of thinking. It's hard to say until after this race. I mean, so much can change in one race. So, but if you are below that cutoff line right now, you don't want to have 2 bad races. That's kind of asking for it. So, drivers that can't really afford too much of a bad race. Yeah, I think Shane Parrish is one of them. I don't really know if there's any other drivers other than what you mentioned that would be in trouble. James Ross has made his way back up to the 5th position. So pace car pulls off. Blake Griffith's going to lead him to the green flag yet again. He takes off.
Green flag.
Gerald Campbell doesn't get the best start on the outside there, and there looked like there was a little bit of contact actually between the 24 and the 6, but the 4 of William Lockyer pulls it below the number 6 of Gerald Campbell. He's got James Ross in tow. James Ross gets clear of the number 6 machine, pulls it up to the wall. Gerald Campbell gonna duck it back down low, try and get to the bottom of the 51 machine. Try to take that spot back. Gerald Campbell lost 2 spots on that restart. We'll see if he can grab that spot back from James by the time they get to the line, and he was scored in 4th. So James Ross got scored 3rd position that last time by, but Gerald Campbell's got the preferred line right now on the inside. We'll see if he can get clear before they hit turn 2. Not quite, so James Ross has the outside, and I'm not sure if the bottom is the preferred lane in 3 and 4. I kind of like the top from what I've ran this week, but Gerald Campbell gets clear in turn 3, and James Ross falls back to the 4th position.
Yeah, Curtis and fans, we're going to see battling like this side by side. We've got the 24 of Eric Stanford in the Pepsi truck. On the inside, we've got the 17 Dirty Air Studios of Gary Sexton. This is about the 2nd lap they've raced side by side. We're going to see side by side, front and back action all day long, all night long here at the Texas Motor Speedway. And as these tires wear, it's going to be interesting to see who is going to have the freshest tires near the end of the run. And I am convinced, Curtis, we will see a green flag pit stop cycle. At least that's what I'm hoping for, because I want to see some more strategy go into the race as these chase drivers and the non-chase drivers are challenging for a win here. Love to see an upset win, get somebody that's not in the chase pull off a victory. I'm not sure who that might be tonight. We do have quite a few drivers that could do something on strategy. Chad Payne could pull out a win, although he is only 3 points out. Some other drivers could make some shocking strategy moves and get a victory here. Just depends on how it plays out at the end.
looks like these guys are getting single filed out for the most part. Like Chad Payne kind of tried to make a move to the outside of the number 42 of David Wright there, but didn't really work for him. Sorry, I got the hiccups. And
no problem.
The 98 of Andrew Kessler, he's just made the pass on the number 73 of Jeremy Crandall. So, and they get close through the quad oval there, and still side by side headed down to turn number 1.
Yeah, this is where you got to decide as the tires get a little bit of wear on them. I ran in happy hour quite a few laps, and I did notice you can drive pretty much full speed for a couple, 3 laps, but you have to start lifting a tad, especially to make that turn going into turn 1 and 2 to come out of there without slipping up into the wall. If you have a driver on the outside, that can definitely cause problems. Looks like Ray Richard, the 44, just got the wall. 73 had to check up, might have just barely touched the back of the 44. That's going to slow both of those guys down.
Yeah, 73 had to check up quite a bit there, and just had nowhere to go. Couldn't turn to the bottom. He had a bunch of trucks coming, and lost a couple spots there. And Ray Richard got quite a bit of damage, I do believe. And he already had some damage from that prior wreck. And it looks like he actually was getting a little bit loose through turn 3 and 4 there, dirt tracking a little bit. He's having a tough time with that truck right now, I think.
Yes, if you have a little bit of damage at these 1.5-mile ovals, well, these trucks, they're racing coming through the corners around 170 miles an hour as they scream down this long Texas backstretch at the Fort Worth is exactly where this track is. They call it the Texas Motor Speedway, but it is in Fort Worth. These trucks are hitting upwards of 185 miles an hour coming through the tri-oval here, coming out of turn 4, across the start-finish line. These truck speeds are getting up to 184, 185, 186, almost 187 as they go into turn number 2. Excuse me, turn number 3. No, turn number 1. It's got to be one of those 4.
One of them, definitely one of them. But it looks like Gerald Campbell is close to the back bumper of the number 7 of Blake Griffith. We'll see if he can make a battle of it within the next few laps here. But they've also got James Ross coming behind them. 11-time winner this year, and looks like he's actually closing the gap a little bit on Gerald Campbell.
He is definitely catching them, and this is what I'm talking about. You get 5-10 laps on these tires. Even these fast drivers, they got to decide where to lift the throttle or burp it just a little bit and get back on the gas to A, keep the truck stable without getting loose, and B, to keep as much momentum. And the drivers with the most practice in these trucks at this track in similar weather conditions, they're going to be the drivers who are going to dominate and or at least make some passes here up front. It's going to be a show as the night goes on.
Yeah, it looks like Gerald is a little bit faster, but he can't quite get the run that he needs to get to the inside. He keeps peaking because I think he thinks that he might get the run off, but he just hasn't been able to get it yet. But as I say that, he gets to the inside here of the number 7 of Blake Griffith. This is going to pull the 51 of James Ross right up to their back bumper, and I think the 7 knew that and basically let Gerald by to try and keep that gap closed a little bit there. But it didn't do much. The 51 still in the back bumper of the 7 machine, and he's looking to the inside. Almost moves him up the track, but he stayed off in the back bumper. And
the 6 gets on the apron and loses his momentum.
Yeah, and there's almost 3 wide headed across the start-finish line there. And the 7 of Blake Griffith gets back to the lead. 51 of James Ross is to the outside of Gerald Campbell, and Gerald Campbell got to the lead and then got a little bit piece of that apron in 3 and 4, and just got a little bit loose, lost some momentum, like you said.
Yeah, every time these trucks, because they are so momentum dependent, every time you get on that apron, you lose a little momentum. I think it might have just happened to the 7 of Blake Griffith.
I wasn't sure if the 51 put the bumper to him, or if the angle I was looking from, it kind of looked like the 51 put the bumper to him, but I don't know. I'd have to go back and look to verify that, but nonetheless, the 51 makes the pass. The 7 was a little bit low, close to the apron, as a lot of these guys are running tonight, coming out of 4, and he's flirting.
6 hits it again. Yes, sir, Curtis. The 6 hits it again. Gerald Campbell, he loses 3 or 4 more truck lengths, and that's going to allow the 24 of Eric Stanford, the Pepsi machine, to catch him and probably make this pass going into turn 1 and 2, if not coming out. Sorry for that.
You just lose your momentum for just the one straightaway, and then you should be able to get it back going again. But yeah, that definitely allowed the 24 to pull back up at least a few truck lengths and widen the gap between him and the number 7 of Blake Griffith, and the lead is dwindling away further and further. James Ross is looking to pull away now. He's had a pretty rough race, rough 42 laps to get here, but he's made his way up to a familiar spot this season, and I'm sure he's not going to give it up easily now.
Yes, sir. A little bit further back in the pack, Fans and Curtis in 13th position. David Wright, and that number 42 Mellow Yellow Machine is making the pass on the inside, or trying to make the pass on that number 73 Save the Tatas truck of Jeremy Crandall. And they are still side by side as they cross the start-finish line, diving into turn 1. This is the point in the race and the run. I think these trucks have got, about 10, 12, 15 laps on these tires, where it's going to be hard to maintain that low groove because you're going to get loose and or tight, and you're going to be able to keep more momentum up on the outside as we're seeing in the 73 right now. It'll be interesting to see if he'll be able to clear him as they catch in the 98 of Andrew Kessler.
It's a three-way battle for the second position right now, and it looks like the 7 of Blake Griffith, he was able to get back to it for the time being. He's got the 24 of Eric Stanford following him, though. And Gerald Campbell actually made the pass on Blake Griffith. Blake Griffith pulled the crossover, was able to get back by him. And then the 24 is coming by the 7 machine now, and Gerald Campbell is pulled alongside the number 7 of Blake Griffith. So great racing here between these three, and we'll see if Gerald Campbell can get clear before they hit turn 1. It looks like he does, so they get things single filed out, but I'm sure probably not for long, as here comes Gerald Campbell to the inside of the 24 of Eric Stanford. Looks like he pushes up off turn number 2 a little bit.
Yeah, I tell you what, I heard from the 7 of Blake Griffith. His tires have worn out, and that has allowed the 17 of Gary Sexton to catch him. So like I mentioned a little while ago, Curtis and Fans, these drivers up front that were racing extremely hard, like the 7 of Blake Griffith, he has lost some of his tires. The 24 of Eric Stanford, I think, saved some. That's why he's now making the pass on Gerald Campbell, hopefully, as they scream down the back stretch to take over that second position. But Gerald Campbell and that number 6, veteran of Ford and Wards, is not giving up now. And we got 2x2 and 2x2 for second, third, fourth, and fifth. Yeah, and
Gary Sexton's really picking up the pace right now. He's running in the same lap time. Actually, that last lap, it was obviously a little bit slower because he was trying to make some passes, but the lap before that, he was faster than the leader of James Ross, and I think he's really saving tires here tonight. He knows how badly they wear here at Texas, and I know he's been working on that all season. That's really been his pride and joy, really. I mean, that's what it's all he's really been working on. He doesn't worry about the short run speed. I know even when I see him in practice, there's a lot of guys that will go out there, including myself, and try and get the fastest hot lap speed, the fastest qualifying speed, and Gary almost never does that. I see him just go out there and drive the track and figure it out without crashing, basically the first time every time, and that helps you a lot when you can do that. And so I think right now he's saving quite a bit of tires. He's going to be able to maybe catch back up to the 51 of James Ross here if we get the long green flag run that I'm sure he's hoping for. But in front of them, Gerald Campbell and Eric Stanford, they're still battling it out for the second position there. It looks like Stanford almost able to get clear in turn number 3, but not quite, and they keep battling side by side like this. They're going to bring Gary Sexton right up into the mix, and with a lot cleaner and fresher tires too. So it does look like Gary has a little bit of front end damage on his Toyota Tundra though here tonight, so I'm not sure what happened with that.
I think he barely got into the back of somebody on a restart, trying to get going, and that's going to happen. Hopefully he might get a chance to get some of that worked out. But you're absolutely right. The 6 and the 24 are just battling side by side. I did understand earlier in the happy hour that some of these trucks, they're going to be able to go around 42 to 47 laps on a fuel load. That was in practice conditions. Race conditions, it could be a tad less. How many laps have they gone since the restart here, Curtis, if you might have that information?
Well, it looks like we went back green flag on lap number 26. So, crossing on to lap number 27, I do believe. So, we are about 25 laps into this run here.
So we're probably halfway through a fuel run. And I know these guys are already screaming for tires, as we do see the number 9 of Chad Payne. Don't talk about him a lot. He is in that Office HQ truck, running back in 15th position. He did just make a clean pass around the 98 of Andrew Kessler. Andrew Kessler has had a little bit of issues with his truck so far tonight. He's been in the wall a couple of times. He is driving that beautiful, if I'm not mistaken there, Curtis, that beautiful green number 98 Aegis Motorsports entry. Is that what you were seeing?
Yeah, on the 98 of Andrew Kessler, yep. Well, no, actually, he is the pink Chef Andy's lobster roll Aegis machine, yep. It's not, I don't see any green on it.
Good deal. Another beautiful paint job we got here, another Aegis machine. And I hope this is right also, you have to correct me if I'm wrong, is the number 45 of Sean Kalist. According to my screen, he is in that Marathon Toyota Tundra. He always brings some of the greatest paint jobs, Marathon Petroleum Corporation, and on the back trunk
All right,
lid,
man, caution
he's
is
got
out.
Chef
Caution
Andy's
is
Pizza,
out.
and we do have a caution. Give us just a minute to pull up exactly what happened.
Yeah, it was the 42 and the 81. I think the 42 of David Wright, yeah, the back end just came away from him coming off of turn number 4, so that's what'll happen later in this run. That's what I was talking about at the top of the show, and just nowhere to go for the 81 of Shane Parrish when something like that happens, and yeah, they spin and slide through the infield. I think that's the only contact that happened there, but that's kind of what I was waiting for, is for somebody to get loose on throttle heading out of turn number 4 or even out of turn number 2, but turn number 4 here, Texas is notorious for that in these trucks, where you're just trying to keep it on the throttle as much as you can.
Yeah, absolutely. That's exactly what happened to 42 Mellow Yellow. Just got a little bit loose, and that lost some momentum. 81 had nowhere to go, bumped him, and they both were able to get it going straight. And on that note, fans and Curtis, we're going to take our first quick commercial break. You're watching the Serve Pro 200 live on All Pro Broadcasting. We'll be right back.
When you're ready,
Servpro, how can we help?
help gets there faster. The cleanup specialists at 1-800-SERVPRO and ServPro.com. Helping make fire and water damage like it never even happened.
Hey, this is Garrett Smithley, driver the number 0 JD Motorsports Chevrolet, and you're watching All Pro Broadcasting.
Welcome back, race fans, to Domino's TYJ Racing Dented Fenders Servpro 200 here at Texas Motor Speedway. We're ready for a restart. We're going to do what we did earlier, let you fans enjoy our famous All-Pro Broadcasting Crank It Up for a couple laps here. We're going to go over a couple of important things as soon as that happens. The pace car is in. Crank up your stereos and join this All-Pro Broadcasting. Crank it up.
It looks like these guys have single filed things out for the most part. Trying to look a bit deeper back in the pack, and actually the 17 of Gary Sexton just made the pass on the 73 of Jeremy Crandall. Now Gary is trying to work his way back up around the outside of Sean Kalis. So again, I'm not sure what happened on that pit stop for Gary Sexton, but
I'm betting and guessing, is all I can do, that he spent a little bit of extra time working on the front end of that 17 truck, knowing we've got over half of the race left to get a little bit of work done on that truck under cautions, so that he was able to get back and maybe make some headway. We got a battle for the lead here as the number 7 gets right into the back, just barely kisses the bumper of the 51 of James Ross. And I got to mention for the fans real quick, you have got exactly 3 laps to get your pick in for that free pizza giveaway. You can text 919-883-7497 or the right live race chat. Say, I choose this driver to win. The first fan to accurately predict the correct winner will win a free large 3-topping Domino's pizza, carry out only, any store in the United States or Canada.
And Blake Griffiths is really trying right now to get to that back bumper, the number 51, and Gerald Campbell's just watching it happen and hoping these guys get side by side so he can get pulled right back up there, and it looks like that might be what's happening. 7 machine gets to the inside of the 51 of James Ross here. They're side by side in turn number 2. See who can get the run off the corner. The 7 pushes up just a little bit, almost into the fender of the number 51 of James Ross, but I believe they, I don't think they made any contact. We're still side by side, headed down into 3.
Yes,
Looks like Blake Griffith gets clear, headed out of turn number 4. Blake Griffith back to the top of the board.
Yes, looks like James is going to try that crossover move as they dive into turn number 1. James will dive on that inside of the 7 of Blake Griffith. Again, it'll depend on who gets the best run off of this corner as they scream down the backstretch.
And James Ross trying to make that crossover move work. See if he can make the bottom groove work in 3 and 4 here and hold off the crossover from the number 7 machine. Looks like he's still stuck on the bottom. He's going to be able to get up to the top here, I think, before they hit turn number 1. He's going to give the 7 that room, so this is where the 7 might be able to do the crossover, but now he can't because here comes the number 6 of Gerald Campbell. Doesn't look like he's able to get the run off anyway, but just like I said, them battling side by side a little bit brought the number 6 machine up into the mix, and also the number 24 of Eric Stanford. He's not too far behind.
Yes, Curtis, you're absolutely right. And real quick about Gerald Campbell, we do want to get a word with him if we do get another caution, if we don't talk to him in the top 3. But we do want to make sure all the fans understand Amy Campbell is Gerald Campbell's sister. Gerald is getting married in 3 days, so he's probably a little bit distracted thinking about with all the butterflies in his stomach, which are really going to creep in there as he gets a little bit loose. Hopefully he can't hear me talking right this second. But he's going to have some serious butterflies on wedding day. He might have a few already 3 days out. I remember that with my wedding. And Curtis, I don't know if you remember it with your wedding or not, but we want to give a good congratulations to Gerald Campbell and his future wife, and hopefully we'll get some more information on that from him himself if we get another caution or at the end of the race.
I'm kind of hoping we don't get another caution here. It'd be nice to... I think that caution kind of fell at a spot where it's going to make for an interesting pit strategy for some of these guys. And the 6 machine of Gerald Campbell and the number 7 of Blake Griffith, they've been going back and forth all race long so far. We're just past the halfway point, so...
They sure have. And the 51 of James Ross is back where he is comfortable leading this race. Although, like you said, he did have some issues earlier. Some other drivers I'm keeping an eye on, like you said, the 17 of Gary Sexton in that Dirtier Studio Toyota Tundra, I believe, spent some extra time on pit road. He is all the way back up to 6th. And I do believe he's probably still working on conserving his tires for the hope and the possibility that we do have another long green flag run that may include green flag pit stops, which is really going to shake things up because these guys have not had to make one of those at full speed. And here at Texas, when you have worn out tires, Curtis, you can attest to this, it is not easy to get on this pit road without making a mistake.
No, yeah, you really got to make sure that you practice your pit entries here. You don't want to get down on the apron where it gets really slick and then just block your brakes up. So yeah, you want to make sure that you know how to get on pit lane, and that's one thing that some guys don't think about, and it ends up biting them if there's long green flag runs. So I'm hoping we get one. Went back green flag on lap 59. We're on lap 72 right now. So actually working lap number 73. So, yeah, 14 laps on this run. And how many laps did you say these guys can go on a tank of fuel? About 45-ish?
42 to 47 is what I heard a couple of guys got during the practice.
Man, 47 sounds a little high, but it could be. The track is pretty hot. Oh, and the 24 puts the bumper to the number 7 of Blake Griffith. I was actually watching the rear bumper cam, and so I'm not sure if the 7 got tight. I didn't really see what happened. I just saw the 24 actually made some pretty decent contact with the back of that number 7. didn't damage either truck, but definitely made some contact there, and he's still trying to make his way around that number 7 machine of Blake Griffith.
Yeah, that was definitely close racing quarters. But it looks like the 7 is going to give him plenty of room on the inside, although he's not going to make it easy on the 24 of Eric Stanford.
Yeah, and Eric pulled it way down, almost to the apron coming off of turn number 2 that time. And as the tires start to wear, I think the outside line will become more of the preferred groove. We'll see where, or if, yeah, it looks like Eric Stanford actually gets clear using that bottom lane in one corner, so maybe that's just the difference in speed between the two trucks. I know Blake Griffith didn't have the long run truck on the last run. He said it himself. I think he said over the radio that his tires were just gone, and hopefully he's just trying to save him a little bit more right now and not pushing it too hard.
Yes, while we are talking about the number 24, tonight he is in that Toyota Pepsi, the choice of a new generation Toyota Tundra. Quick Domino's driver profile while we get a chance. He is from Glenfield, New York. Eric Stanford is. I think his team these days, correct me if I'm wrong, I think he is part of that Aegis Motorsports team. His sponsors are typically ES Motorsports, ES Billiards, and Pepsi. And don't be surprised as the season winds down if you don't see him in an Aegis Motorsports sponsored truck here. I do think he's part of that team, Curtis. I could be wrong.
Yeah, I think you're right on that. I just think he doesn't really run their special paint schemes. I'm not sure if he's actually a part of their team or if he's just affiliated kind of thing, but definitely hangs out with those guys and runs races with them, and I think gets some tips from the master, David Washington. So he's trying to keep the number 7 of Blake Griffith in his rear view mirror right now. Gerald Campbell, he's trying to just hang on to James Ross right now, but he actually lost 3/10 just that last lap. He was a lot closer, and I think Gerald's tires are starting to fall off just a little bit more than what James's are, and he lost another 3/10 that lap there, so the lead has doubled. Went from 0.6 seconds to 1.2 seconds in the last lap, or the last 2 laps rather.
Either he's doing that, or he has decided to work on conserving his tires, as we're not even quite halfway through this run, I don't think. We're a good 20 laps in maybe, or 15, but he knows that the tires are going to be completely shot if he keeps driving as hard as he was. I think he might be hoping that the 51 of James Ross will have to slow down and back up to him if his tires are wearing out fast.
Yeah, and looking for any side-by-side battles right now, and can't really find much, to be honest with you. Yeah, I think literally everybody is single file right now on the track. Which is never a bad thing. That can always make for long green flag runs unless somebody kind of messes it up themselves, and I think that's actually what has triggered every caution here tonight is somebody just not even their own contact with somebody starting it. They just got loose and then had lost control of their truck, and then there was contact with other trucks. So
yeah, Curtis, go ahead.
Tonight, and yeah, we're getting to that point again in this run where we're going to start to see trucks become a lot harder to drive.
Yes, sir, Curtis. And while we are still under green, we're going to do another real quick Domino's driver profile. I might do an onboard camera view of the 33 of Vernon Margine. He does have that yellow splitter and spoiler. He is in the chase, so he is fighting for position. Vernon, he is from Greenwood, Indiana. His basic sponsors are GTRsimulator.com and IndianaDiesel.com. He also tonight has on his truck YNS, which is Young & Sons. He's in that number 3, like I said. He's been in sim racing 4 years. He's got 20 years in real racing. He raced hobby stocks, street stocks in the state of Washington, at Yakima Speedway. Hopefully I didn't ruin that name. He's got one hobby championship in 1999. He's also got one demolition derby win in 1995, and many second and third place finishes. Curtis, he's a great talented driver. Happen to have him here, and you know a little bit about demolition derby races, I think.
Yeah, they're definitely fun to vent frustration, depending on what you want to do, but yeah, definitely a lot different than what we're doing here tonight. And I think Gerald Campbell, he actually, I'm not sure if he hit the wall. Looks like he might have a little bit of right side damage on his truck, and he's fallen back pretty significantly from Eric Stanford, who he was battling with before. So tires either falling off or I think he does have a little bit of right side damage on that truck.
That is true, a little bit of damage, but I'm not sure if it's enough for him to drop back these two spots. I'm wondering if he's working some pitch strategy already, although I did see him just get loose coming out of the corner.
Twice there, middle of the corner, coming out of the corner. He had two little wiggles, and these guys are driving him right on the edge, and you really gotta find the sweet spot. And right now, in where we are in this point in the run, the trucks, like I said, they just get so difficult to drive. You really got to be disciplined and know that you can't just get on the throttle right away. And here comes the number 6 to pit lane. Oh, and he cooks it in there way too fast, gets sideways. Not sure if he's going to get a speeding penalty, but he basically stops, and that wasn't the pit entry that Gerald Campbell wanted there.
No, we're going to follow him down pit road. He did get going back straight. We're going to see exactly what kind of strategy he takes on that number 6, no scars, no story, Chevy Silverado of Gerald Campbell. He does come to a stop in his pit box. I do think this is a strategy move, although that entry might have hurt him a little bit. The right side's going up. He's getting 2 right side Goodyear Eagles and 1 can of Sunoco Racing Fuels. The team runs around the left side, jacks it up. So he's getting 4 brand new Goodyear Eagles, the 2nd can of Sunoco Racing Fuels in, and he is off. That he came to a complete stop on pit road before as he entered and had that spin, which is going to cost him a lot of time under green, Curtis. But maybe these new tires early will be able to make a difference if we go green to the end of the race.
Yeah, but the only problem I have with that is if he was struggling this early on in the run now, we went back green flag, like I said, at lap 59. That's only 30 laps that Gerald Campbell just went on those tires, and we got another 44 laps to run in this race, so I'm sure he was planning on running it to the end there, and that's another 14 laps. Not sure if I'm just not sure if Gerald's really prepared for that from what if he's already struggling that much at 30 laps, so you got to do what you got to do. I think he probably just needed to get in there and get rid of those tires. I'm not sure if he's got loose too many times and really just overcooked them, and he thinks that, you know, the best thing overall to salvage it would be to just come in now and short pit. And short pitting works, but only to a degree. You can't pit too early, or else everybody else will just fly back by you eventually. And caution flies at the right time, that changes everything too. But right now I think these guys can go about another 10 or 15 laps on these tires. I think you'll see people from the top 5 start to come in probably within the next, I'm going to say right around lap 97 is when they're going to start to come in, within the next 5 laps here.
Yeah, Tyler Chalk in that 07 Southeast Motorsports Toyota Tundra, pad on the back bumper. He came down pit road and had his pit service done with no issues whatsoever. So I think some of these guys that are trying to figure out, well, if I can't outrun the 51 on pure speed, I'm going to have to do something different than the 51 of James Ross is doing. And so maybe they're figuring if they go ahead and get these fresh tires early, maybe they'll get lucky and be able to, you know, do something different and get a much better finish, if not pull off the win.
Eric Stanford and Blake Griffith there, both pulling back up to the number 51 of James Ross. The gap was 2 and 3 seconds, I think, between those two. or it was just over 2 seconds, and Eric Stanford is under half a second back from the 51 right now. We'll see if he can make his way back by. He seems like he might be the truck to beat on the long run here tonight.
Yeah, Eric Stanford and that Pepsi machine definitely knows how to save tires, and this could be another strategy call. James Ross, I'd be surprised if his tires wore out this bad, but that could be the case. But I'll tell you what, I think now that the window is open for pit stops, I've said it many times, Curtis and fans, one key ingredient to winning one of these very competitive races at Domino's TYJ Racing, brought to you live on All Pro Broadcasting, is having a little bit of luck. You got to have the right strategy. You got to have perfect pit stops. You got to have a fast truck or a fast car. You got to have a great driver, great spotter, and great calls on pit road with no mistakes. But you got to have that luck factor, Curtis, and that's maybe what some of these guys were trying to do, is put themselves in position to have that luck factor shine on them tonight and beat the 51 of James Ross, who, like you said earlier, has won 11 races so far in 2017.
And it seems like Eric Stanford's run kind of stalled out a little bit, but see what the gap is this time by the line. He actually fell back just a little bit, almost just like 21 thousandths of a second there. And they're running two different lines. Eric Stanford is running up a little bit higher than what James Ross is. Watch them enter the corner here, and it looked James Ross dives it right down to that bottom lane. Eric Stanford runs it up above that black seam and then kind of diamonds down the corner a little bit. So
yeah, we just noticed a contact between the 6 of Gerald Kimmel and the 33. Gerald with those fresh tires caught the 33 of Vernon Margon. They just barely got together. Both went sideways. They both saved it. We stay under green. And I just heard it under team communications that some other drivers are ready for their pit stops.
yeah, just as I predicted, right around lap number 97 or 98-ish. And James Ross, he's coming down pit road right now on lap number 98. Eric Stanford will follow him in. Looks like they both get it down to pit road speed. So the two leaders coming down pit lane right at the same time. And I'm sure Eric Stanford didn't want to get shortcutted by James by a lap, because he just did all that work to get back to his back bumper. Now he's going to be there for this entire run, hopefully, and not fall back too far. Just be on a pretty even playing field, really. He came in just a few truck lengths back.
Yeah, it looks like both of these trucks are going to get 4 brand new Goodyear Eagles and 2 cans of Sunoco racing fuel. The race off of pit road looks like the 24 of Eric Stanford caught up a little bit, but as they race off of pit road and they get back on the apron, these drivers do have to keep it on the apron until they get to the backstretch. We'll see what happens as far as some other drivers are on pit road. I think the 85 of Judd Danielson is on pit road. I see the 9 of Chad Payne coming down pit road. Andrew Kessler and that number 98 is on pit road. Oh, and Chad Payne has some issues and slides it into the inside wall on pit road. Hopefully not too much damage for Chad Payne in that number 9 Office HQ truck. And looks like Jack Watson, the 66, is off of pit road, as well as Ivan Garcia's come off pit road, as well as the 85 of Judd Danielson, who was running 8th at the time. He made himself way back up in the top 10. So we'll see if these drivers that are staying out, we hear the 42, that'd be a David Wright is on pit road. The 4 of William Locklear's coming down pit road. So who's going to hand this over as the lead as we speak right now, Curtis?
William Locklear is leading the race right now as we speak. But he still has to pit. Actually, he's bringing his truck down pit road right now. So Jeremy Crandall actually leading the race. And yeah, the scoring is just all messed up right now because everybody pitting. Jeremy Crandall's at the top of the board. I'm trying to find out who's in second, but everybody is coming down pit road right now.
Yeah, it does get tricky to keep up with things. It looks like the 73 of Jeremy Crandall is going to get that bonus point for leading a couple of laps. He's coming down pit road now. Hopefully he will not make any mistakes. He needed that bonus point for sure. A matter of fact, I think Jeremy has led a lap in many of our races in 2017. Great driver, great, smart strategy driver. He knows how to get points when he needs them. And we'll see who that turns the lead over to.
And James Ross just made his way back by Gerald Campbell, so we'll see what the gap is. Those two drivers were pretty close on the long run until Gerald had his issues and had to pit early, and we'll see what how big the gap grows now between those two drivers, because 51 just made the pass and he looks to be almost like 10 truck lengths ahead already, and the gap is actually growing between the 51 and the 24 as well, so that's not really what Eric Stanford wants. He was pretty close coming out of the pit lane that last time, and yeah, he's just fallen back a little bit more than I think he wants to right now. He's gonna have to do some work to make his way back up there, and yeah, I'm sure he just wishes he could ride on the bumper until James wears his tires out.
Yeah, I think the 6 of Gerald Campbell pitted. Obviously, we can't question his call, his decision to come down pit road when he did. I'm sure he had a good reason for it. But yeah, these trucks that just now pitted, that have the freshest tires, that can make it to the end, it all depends on if we have a caution or not. And it is exciting, Curtis and fans, for us to see that green flag run and green flag pit stops, which do happen quite often in our Domino's TYJ Racing League races. And you mentioned a while ago about the Master Dave Washington. He drives at number 88 in our Top Shelf Cup Series. Fans, you want to make sure you tune in tomorrow night to All Pro Broadcasting, 8:50 p.m. Eastern. We're going to have the Top Shelf Cup drivers at Chicagoland for the last race to make it into the championship race 2 weeks after that at Homestead, Miami. It's going to be dynamic weather tomorrow night, and these very, very talented, high rating drivers are going to be putting on one incredible show at Chicagoland. I cannot wait to watch and call that race, Curtis, and you're going to be in it yourself. What are you looking forward to?
Well, Cup car is different to drive than the Xfinity, and the Xfinity last week had some success, but yeah, the Cup race is going to be a lot more difficult. Some of the drivers that are in the Cup Series are obviously just straight up fast and hard to run with sometimes. So I'm just looking forward to trying to make my way into the final 12 at Homestead.
Yes, sir. I'm very confident that you will, unless you have some kind of unforeseen mistake or accident, which can happen. And back to this race right now, James Ross is still leading. Looks like he's about to put a lap on the 14th place running Chad Payne. And that's going to leave, he just put a lap on the 15th place running Andrew Kessler. Second position, like you said, is Eric Stanford in that Pepsi machine. Blake Griffin is running in third. Gerald Campbell in fourth. Jack Watts is snuck up on us. He's running that number 66. That would be the second, if I'm not mistaken, Southeast Motorsports entry. He is also in the chase with the yellow bumper. Splitter and spoiler. Looks like Jack Watts has moved from 15th up to 5th. So he's having a great run managing his tires. Looking like he might pull off a top 5 if he keeps this up. Maybe even more.
And it's like the top 3 have pretty much separated themselves from everybody else on this long run here. That would be James Ross, the number 24 of Eric Stanford, and the number 7 of Blake Griffith. Everybody else, I think they kind of need something else to happen, like a caution, for them to have a chance at winning this thing. Crazier things have happened, but Gerald Campbell in 4th spot is 5.4 seconds back at 23 or 24 laps to go here, and yeah, that's going to be quite the task to try and get back up there. Blake Griffith and Eric Stanford definitely within reach at 9/10 of a second and 1.4 respectively.
Yes, sir, Curtis, and like we talked about earlier, Gerald Campbell is going to be the honeymoon man here in about 3.5 days. I'm not sure what time his wedding is. We're definitely giving him and his fiancée congratulations. And we're going to do a Domino's driver profile on the number 6 real quick while we got a chance. because that's some good news in his world. This race tonight might not be the best he's ever had. Gerald is in that number 35. He is from Sebring, Florida. His team is Aggressive Eagle. His main sponsor is Veteran of Foreign Wars. We always respect, appreciate, and salute our veterans, past, current, and future. We wouldn't have the freedom of what we're doing tonight, fans. You wouldn't have the freedom to watch what we're doing tonight without the military of this great country, United States of America. We proudly fly our flag with our national anthem at the beginning of all of our races. Hopefully you're able to see that if you haven't seen it before. He's got 15 years in Legends Racing in Florida, and yes, Gerald Campbell knows how to get it done in real life. He is a 2012 Pro Truck champion, so he knows what he's doing. He might have made the wrong strategy call here at Texas, but it's good to see him on the track, and we're excited for to talk to him after he gets married, if not tonight.
And it looks like James is actually about to put the 85 of Judd Danielson a lap down here.
Yeah, I tell you what, that's all about strategy. I think Judd Danielson, that 85 CCR entry, came to pit road on the exact same lap as James Ross. And Judd puts a lot of time into practice, as it does the 51 has gotten around him. So Judd is going to follow the tire tracks of the 51 of James Ross, try to learn something for next week. Try to learn something from this very talented driver of James Ross in that 51. And so right now it looks like it's going to leave us with 11 drivers on the lead lap, Ray Richard being the last one.
And he's not too far ahead of that number 51 either. He's in danger of getting lapped by the end of this one, I think. And as is the 73 of Jeremy Crandall, the 45 of Sean Kalis, the 07 of Tyler Chalk. I think all those guys are close enough that they might be able to get lapped by the 51 if he keeps on it.
Yeah, we do have battles all over the track. I'm watching some close racing quarters right now. But up front it does look like James Ross in that 51. He's got eyes on the back of that number 44. Haven't talked a lot about Ray Richard tonight. Ray is driving that Pro Auto Service Chevy Silverado. Beautiful paint job on there. Ray is one of the most gentleman drivers you're going to find in all of iRacing. We're very, very lucky. He is part of our league here, Dominus TYJ Racing, and hopefully he will be for many years to come. He started 14th, he's moved up to 11th, but he does have the leader hot on his tail, and will probably be going one lap down here if we stay green.
And we'll see how much this lap traffic slows up the 51 of James Ross, if that's able to pull up the 24 to his bumper anymore, or if the 24 is going to have just the same trouble getting through. But I think James, he made it through relatively well there, but I think he lost a little bit of time on that last lap trying to get by the 45.
Yeah, Curtis, this is really going to come down here. It's going to lap 1, 17, 18.
Coming on here for James Ross.
Yeah, geez, sorry about that. So we're going to have about 14, 13 laps to go.
Yes, sir, and James Ross is continuing to grow that gap. I mean, Eric Stanford's really going to have to start to do something like last lap if he wants to make something happen. So he's really got to get on it. Blake Griffith, he's fell back to 3.4 seconds back. He's going to need a caution or something to be able to get back up there. And Jack Watts running in the 4th position. Good run for that number 66 machine. And Gary Sexton has made his way up in the top 5. He's 10.2 seconds back of the lead.
Yeah, the question is, we know Gary knows how to save his equipment. Has Gary Sexton saved enough tire with these last 12 laps to go? Is he going to be able to catch the 51? Probably not.
Oh, definitely not. 10 seconds back, 12 laps to go here. No chance that he could catch him under green flag conditions. I don't even think there's a chance that he could catch the driver in front of him, the 66 of Jack Watts. Jack is 3.5 seconds ahead of Gary, and even that in 12 laps is just pretty much unheard of. Unless somebody makes a mistake or something, obviously, but barring that, it's going to be pretty tough.
Yeah, Jack Watts has moved up to 4th position. I know you mentioned him just a second ago, so he is having a great top 5 run. Good for him.
8 drivers currently still on the lead lap. I think Jeremy Crandall, the next one in danger of getting lapped here, and I think it might happen here. 11 laps, and he's only, I think, a second or two ahead of the 51 right now.
Any other battles you've seen on the track as we speak, Curtis?
Not really any battles that I can find. Ray Richer actually looks like he's looking to the inside of the 45 of Sean Kalis right now. That's a battle for position, actually, for the 10th position, so I think Ray keeps it way down low there, trying to keep it off the 45, and 45 of Sean Kalis gets the run off at turn number 4. It's 10 laps to go here from Texas.
So you could almost say that James Ross is doing what he does best. He's putting on a clinic as we speak. He even had issues earlier in the race. Had a little bit of incidental contact with the 85 of Judd Danielson. Not much damage on the 51 truck or the 85 for that matter. But it did put him back in the pack. I think he was running as far back, Curtis, as what, 13th, 14th at one time?
Yeah, I think as far back as 15th, and made his way back up through the pack a couple times, so not a surprise at all, but pretty tough race. Not really what he's used to having to do, is battle through the pack a couple times. He usually qualifies pretty well, doesn't have too many issues, and is able to keep it up front, but not tonight, and he proved that that doesn't really matter. I mean, you can spin him sideways through the grass, and he'll come back up through the pack and lead a lot of this race, and he's only got 7 laps to go to cap this thing off, but I really don't think anybody has anything for him unless we have a caution here. Eric Stanford is keeping the gap at 1.7, but too little too late, even if he turned on the jets now. And he's got clean air, but still just not going to be enough without a caution. And if we did have a caution here, we would have to have it right about now, or we wouldn't get a restart.
Yeah, I just noticed the 45 of Sean Kalis that got on the apron like we've seen so many guys do. I think the 7 of Blake Griffith might have just barely got into the back of him. Sean does a gentleman thing, as he is always a gentleman driver. He gets it stopped in the grass, he gets it restarted back up, out of the way of the drivers, and we stay green.
Yeah, so it's 5 laps to go here from Texas. 1.8 seconds the gap now between 51 of James Ross and the 24 of Eric Stanford. Top 5 remains unchanged, and actually the entire top 8, they're all pretty safe where they are, as long as they can keep their trucks straight. Keeping an eye on Judd Danielson and Ray Richard. Actually, Judd Danielson getting passed right now by Eric Stanford, but Judd's pretty safely in front of Ray Richard for the 9th position. Ray is trying to hold off the 81 of Shane Parrish right now for the 10th position, as all these guys, the top 5, seem to be making their way around lap traffic now. Jack Watts makes his way around the 81 of Shane Parrish.
Absolutely. And it looks like Blake Griffin, even with that little issue, is still running in 3rd. Good run for him. Looks like Judd Danielson is trying to get around the 24. Actually, the 24 of Eric Stanford gets around Judd Danielson. Eric was be in that second position. I don't think, like you said, he's got what it takes to catch the leader, James Ross. As we now.
We'll be coming to 2 laps to go here, 2.6 seconds back. I think Eric laid it out all on the table here within the last few laps. And driving the heck out of it, ended up losing a bit more time. But popsicle sticks displayed by the starter, by the flagman, I should say, from the starter stand. And only 2 more times here around the Texas Motor Speedway for that number 51 of James Ross. Still got the Save the Tatas October paint scheme on. Although we are on into November. It's that PowerTech Power Solutions pink Toyota Tundra, and he will take the white flag here from Texas. 1 lap to go.
Yes, sir. We'll see. Hopefully, we'll not have any issues. Looks like everybody, the 07 and the 9 of Chad Payne, had a little bit of issue coming out of that corner, but we do stay green. Great job. My hats are off for these drivers. They've all run a great race. They've been gentlemen-like, and I think they've had a lot of fun.
Coming out of turn number 4, win number 12 and into the chase. James Ross gets it done here from Texas. An eventful night here for him, but nonetheless gets the job done, leads quite a few laps, and well earned for him tonight. Second place looks like it's going to go to the number 24 of Eric Stanford. Blake Griffith's going to finish the night here in 3rd. Jack Watson, number 66, he'll finish in 4th. Gary Sexton finishes 5th. William Locklear in the number 4 machine finishes 6th. And the last truck on the lead lap, Jeremy Crandall, he finishes 7th. Good job to Jeremy, actually, for staying on the lead lap there. He's pretty close to getting lapped when it's coming down to it, and did a good job staying up there. But James Ross burning it down on the front stretch right now. Judd Danielson finishes the night here in 8th. Ray Richard 9th. Shane Parrish finishes here in 10th. Andrew Kessler 11th. David Wright in the 42 finishes in 12th. Chad Payne in 13th. Tyler Chalk in the 07 finishes in 14th here tonight. Ivan Garcia rounds out your top 15. Gerald Campbell finishes 16th here tonight. 1 lap down. Sean Kalis finishes 17th. Number 33 of Vernon Margheim, he finishes 18th here tonight. The number 66 of Ralph Vandervorst, he finishes 19th. Jeff T. Martin finishes 20th here tonight, and that rounds out your field.
Thank you so much, Curtis. This was a pretty interesting race here. Looks like we've got some guys who are ready for interviews. Looks like Blake Griffin had some issues earlier, but we finally got a hold of him. I'll let you interview Blake Griffin.
Freeman spoke to.
Blake, you qualified on the pole here tonight. You bring it home in 3rd. Had a pretty good battle for a lot of the race that I saw with Gerald Campbell until he had his issue. Just seemed like you were really fast on the short run, just lacked a little bit of long run speed, and that's what hurt you here tonight, but still a solid 3rd place finish. Tell us about your race.
Yeah, man, I didn't really get to practice much this week, and I don't know, I was trying to save on the short run, and then I kept getting passed when I was trying to save and ran hard, so I just kind of moved over and let some people out of the way, and it was a pretty good race, though. I feel like it should have been a P2, but kind of got blocked by Shane there for 2 laps and then hit. And then my rear end got jacked up going into 1 by James, and that kind of hurt my tires a little bit. But all in all, it was a good race. I'm pretty happy with the P3 because last week I got turned, and I think it sent me back to 10th in the playoffs, so I'm happy with the P3.
Yeah, it definitely helps headed into California next week. Good finish here tonight should set you up for at least just having to have a decent race next week and not worry about things too much, at least worry about it a little bit less than what you did. And anybody you'd like to thank here tonight?
Yeah, for sure, man. All my team, CCR, Gary, Judd, Will, Tim, Joe, all those guys are a huge help. My spotter and crew chief, Nikki, Robert for putting on the league, and everybody that participates, really appreciate it.
All right, Blake, well, congratulations on the third place finish here tonight. We will see you next week, and I think Robert has caught up with second place finisher of Eric Stanford.
Hello, Eric. This is Robert and Curtis. Congratulations. Great run there in that beautiful, beautiful Pepsi number 24 machine. I'm always thirsty for Pepsi watching you come around the track, and I'm also always impressed with your skill at saving tires, and you had a great run there. Could you have done anything different to get around the 51 tonight?
I don't think so. I think I could have done better was pick up a little more time on pit road. A little bit slow there, so that kind of killed me.
Yeah, I tell it every single race, pretty much. It's always important to not make mistakes anywhere, anytime. As you know this, in NASCAR, it happens every single race. A simple little mistake that cost you 1 second under green flag can almost ruin a chance of winning a race. But you still ran a great race. Beautiful looking truck. Who would you like to thank tonight?
I thank my wife. Thank all the Aegis guys, Dave, Andy, Shane, James. Thank my family for who's watching at home. Everybody who's giving me that little bit of extra help that I need.
Yes, sir, Eric. Thank you so much. Like most drivers in the Domino's TYJ Racing League this year, you are much improved. You get all the credit for that. The guys that have helped you out, they get all the credit. Congratulations again, and we'll definitely talk to you probably tomorrow night.
Hopefully.
Yes, sir. Take care, Eric. Appreciate it.
Thanks.
And now I think Curtis has made his way all the way down for the interview with our winner, James Ross. Take it away, Curtis.
Well, James, win number 12 on the year. This one didn't really come as easily as a lot of the other ones. The track conditions here tonight, they don't really favor long run qualifying speed. It was more of just a flat out qualifying run, not really something that a lot of guys that like long runs really prefer. And yeah, you got involved in a little bit of an incident early on, spun like a helicopter through the infield. What was going through your mind when that happened? I mean, I'm sure you thought your night was over at that point.
Well, I could tell you what was going on in my mind, but I don't know if I could say it on the air, Curtis. So, yeah, just a bit unfortunate, I guess. Judd said he tagged the apron a little bit. I mean, I thought he had plenty of room down there. I mean, I'll have to look at the replay after the race here, but he got up into our left rear. Didn't do any damage to the truck. Damaged my ego a bit though, and going to the back so early in the race, at least we had the time to make it up. But yeah, I was a bit concerned. I might have said a few choice words to myself.
And then even after that, you went back to 15th. You clipped the apron yourself and lost a couple spots, quickly gained them back, but just not used to seeing you do that, and you had to make your way back up to the front. You made your way back up there pretty quickly. I was watching you pass 2 trucks at a time per lap, and yeah, just was able to get the job done. Win number 12 here tonight. Who would you like to thank?
Well, of course, I mean, I got to thank all you guys at All Pro Broadcasting, the job you do every week, the broadcasts. I want to give a special thank you out tonight. My father's sitting in Baltimore waiting a surgery tomorrow. I know he's watching, so Dad, glad to get this one for you tonight. And Mom, I know you're watching too, so special shout-outs to them. Of course, Domino's TYJ Racing, Dented Fenders Racing League, my whole team at Aegis, Dave, the mentor, the guru, Andy, Eric, Shane, Sean, a bunch of the other guys, Dylan, Daniel, Ross, Andrew, Kyle. I mean, it's just a great bunch of guys. We put a lot of work into this, so it's good when it pays off. Glad to see Eric get such a good run, get a second place finish. Wish he had a few more races so he could have been in the chase with us. And last but not least, my lovely wife Leslie, and my kids Jimmy and Brooke for allowing me to do this.
All right, James. Well, congratulations on the win. I'm sure you needed that one. Well, you didn't exactly need that one, but rough race at Martinsville last week didn't really put you in the spot that you wanted to be in. Now you can basically take the week off here at Auto Club and just focus on Homestead here in 2 weeks. So congratulations. We'll talk to you next week.
Definitely. Thanks a lot, Curtis.
Thank you so much, James. So, Curtis, what are your takeaways?
We had a long green flag run there. I think we went green flag from lap 59 on to the end of the race, so can't ask for much better than that. We had a few cautions before that, but no really big wrecks. I think every wreck we had was just one truck getting into another, one truck getting loose and collecting another, so can't complain too much about that when you don't have any big ones that involve 5 to 6 trucks all at once and wipe out half the field. I think pretty much everybody was able to keep running around here tonight with minimal damage.
Yeah, Curtis, that was a great race to call. Thank you so much for being here. We do have a free pizza winner. Mark Couch, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, is from Savannah, Georgia. He picked James Ross, smart man. His family will be enjoying that free large 3-topping Domino's pizza. Again, fans, you've been watching the Serve Pro 200 live on All Pro Broadcasting. Serve Pro's got the fastest response time to any disaster you'll ever have. Serve Pro is ready for whatever happens to you in your home. Serve Pro can make it like it never even happened. Make sure you call them at 1-800-SERVE PRO. This was a great race. I enjoyed it. So hats off and thank you so much for Michael D'Amico for doing all the camera work with All Pro Broadcasting. Fans, make sure you click that subscribe button to get your name in the hat for $200. Curtis Young, thank you for being here. So for Curtis Young, Michael D'Amico, this is Robert McFarland. Tune in tomorrow night for our Top Shelf Cup Series race at Chicagoland, 8:50 p.m. Eastern. We'll be here, fans. Make sure you're here so you can get a chance to win that free pizza. Everybody have a great night.
Two wheels in the open road, life and death in my own hands. I am my own justice, I am my own man. I never look behind through all that I have seen, 'cause all I need is 100 gas.
Gentlemen, before they go fast and start to power slide, we salute you with the big blocks 4 wide. Race fans, it's showtime.
American way, and we built this country.